His masterpiece, Yanara Assassin. Again, it's not a song only, it's a call to national consciousness, a call to action, a reminder to all of us to cherish who we are, to defend. And I'm very happy and privileged to declare the book duly launched.
What is that? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep moving. All right. Media, keep moving, keep moving. Please, come in this way.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please do roll you on your feet as we will receive Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Prez Naana Jane.
Keep moving, keep moving.
Vice President, please. Thank you very much, Vice President.
Please keep moving.
All right, so please, ladies and gentlemen, before we all take our seats, we would acknowledge the playing of the national anthem. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We now take your seats, and before
Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Your Excellency, I'm glad that you were able to make it. You kept your word, and my heart's for you. Thank you very much. I also want to introduce the author this year, It's a key role player today. Actually, he's the celebrant for this evening. He is Reverend Professor Philip T. Lai.
I have a joke which is real. When I was at Oxford and the postman arrived, he would say, "Oh, madam, how do you pronounce your name?" And I said, "Search me, it's not my name, it's my husband's name." So my name is actually Odonko. I'm Johanna Koko Odonko. In fact, I'm Johanna Koko Manokwo Odonko. I married a man with this name, which I don't know how to pronounce myself. And I think it's relevant to address the name. The reason why is because I think Ephraim Amo had something to do with the Basel missionaries, and maybe that's why we are in this church today. So the name Savanikia is Danish. And my husband is a descendant of Danes who came to Ghana during the period of the transatlantic slave trade and were at the Christiansborg Castle. So this is part of our history. And what I suspect is that, I don't know if you know about Andreas Ries, but Andreas Ries was the only surviving missionary for the Danes. They sent 8 missionaries. The first 4 perished within a month. Second 4 came with a doctor, and the doctor perished first. And the last person, Andreas Ries, he then made friends with one George Lutrot, who took him to a traditional doctor, a native doctor, and that's how he survived. And in the end, was advised to go to Akropong, where the air was cooler and he was more likely to survive. And I think the Basel missionaries who spoke German, they changed the name of the Svanikia to Swanika with a V, because in German you pronounce W-V. So now, among the Gas, the name Svanikia is actually pronounced Swanika and considered a Ga name because the Swanikas are Gas. So that's the explanation of my name. I'll go back to my speech. It's my honor to serve as the chairperson of the launch of the second edition of the book, Ephraim Amo, Nationalist Poet and Theologian. And I would like to thank the organizers, and particularly Mr. Ladi Nylander and the author, Reverend Professor Philip Lai, for doing me this honor. Let me first use this opportunity to welcome everyone here to this auspicious occasion and thank the Vice President for her presence today. I wish to congratulate Her Excellency on her election as the first woman Vice President of Ghana. It's been a long time coming, and it's a source of great pride and joy to us in Ghana. I'm delighted to be a part of today's proceedings, particularly because as founder and president of the Heritage and Cultural Society of Africa, HACSA Foundation for short, and Ghana's former ambassador to France and UNESCO, I have advocated the importance of safeguarding both our tangible and intangible heritage and making sure it is passed down to the next generation. Intangible cultural heritage is a dynamic, evolving form of heritage that is constantly recreated by communities and plays an important role in promoting respect and tolerance for cultural diversity, as well as development that is both sustainable and in harmony with its environment. It includes our indigenous languages, music, dances, and traditional arts and crafts, like weaving, pottery, metalwork, and even cookery. UNESCO recognizes and works to safeguard intangible cultural heritage through its 2003 convention. And I urge Ghanaians to take advantage of the opportunities it provides us and our country, which is a party to this convention. Some of you here today may be wondering what's so special about Amo. And I urge you all to make sure you buy this wonderful book today to find out. However, I'd like to illustrate his importance to our cultural heritage with just one story. In Amu's time, higher education was predominantly acquired in religious seminaries run by Europeans. Amu wanted to make the Christian church service more meaningful to African worshippers who had been made to be ashamed of their own heritage, their names, their clothing, their language, and their music. In 1931, after he preached wearing his traditional African cloth, he was summoned to appear before the church court and warned not to do it again. Amu therefore decided not to become a minister in the church, rather than accept wearing unsuitable European clothes to preach. He then became a composer and music teacher, composing in African languages and for African music instruments. Amu was a national treasure for Ghana, and Reverend Professor Lai deserves our appreciation and gratitude for keeping his legacy and memory alive in this book. I look forward to acquiring my copy of the book and hope everyone here will get their copy today. Thank you all for coming.
Of the legend, and she will be accompanied by Sarah to do a very short piece. So let's receive them with a round of applause. Please put your hands together for them. That was my favorite, and I knew the book at least, and the reviewer didn't mention it. How many of you know that song? It's very beautiful. So please rehearse it for us as giving the speech. Can we do that? We're very pleased to invite our special guest who came on time, and we will have to finish quickly so she can attend to other meetings. So please rise and welcome Her Excellency, the Vice President, Professor Naana Jane Majestic, to bring us her remarks and also do the official launch of the book. Please put your hands together for her.
Let me begin by addressing the chair and refer to the protocol established, but also isolate my Methodist former chair of the Northern Diocese, where my own church is situated. But don't worry, I've also benefited from the Presbyterians. I was in the Presbyterian boarding school for a number of years before I went to secondary school. So we are all in this together. And unlike my son Bernard, This are my favorite one. And that is Edikanfumo. It's very significant for me because we should never forget that wherever we think we are today, many people have made it possible. It's very important always to recognize them and even to, I see Professor Adai something. And even to acknowledge their efforts too, because without them coming forward, we would not be here. Thank you very much. I feel very humbled and privileged to stand before you on such an important day and on such an important event. We are here to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Ephraim Amo, a man whose contributions are unparalleled to our culture as Ghanaians, as he continues to show through his efforts our needed resilience to inspire generations also. And I particularly need to thank my brother Akuno for ensuring that I was here, no matter what was going on. And of course, I'm very happy to be here. This event goes beyond the book launch, and it moves towards its appropriate destination. And that is the celebration of a legacy, of the example. And it enjoins all of us to reflect on the impact that one individual can make on an entire generation and beyond. There's so much you can learn from it. Dr. Amo, we normally remember him as a composer, but he was more than that. He was an educator, a theologian, a visionary leader, a nationalist. And he lived a life of purpose, and he has left behind a blueprint for patriotism, self-reliance, deepened identity, national pride. He was unwavering in his commitment to Ghana's cultural identity and moral integrity, and all of these made him an extraordinary figure whose contributions even discerned his impact on music or education, and he went on to shape the national consciousness. Today, as we launch this book, we are not just recounting history, we are reclaiming a vision. This book serves as a reminder of his teachings, his guide to present and future generations. It urges us to honor the wisdom, sacrifices, and resilience of those who paved the way for our national development. Sometimes I just wonder what was it like for him at the personal level in his quiet moments, when it's like you are running against the grain, but without that there will be no change. He was a man of many parts, a man of many gifts. He was a cultural architect. He knew that our future depended on our identity, which at the time, currently, I lament that we don't even talk about it. We don't even have discussions of our identity and where we should be heading, where our children should be heading, followed by the grandchildren. And we know all the examples he has left from the review. We know the local languages he composed in, the music, and so on. And this all begs the question, what have we done with these examples? We've heard them many times. What have we done with them? So a charge we have to keep. He was a national influential thinker, and he truly demonstrated that progress wasn't possible when you abandoned who you were, when you abandoned your own heritage. And that, I believe, is part of the reasons why he would integrate integrate music, faith, education, to transform him into one of Ghana's most influential thinkers and cultural revolutionaries. What a man. His masterpiece, Yanara Assassin, again, is not a song only, it's a call to national consciousness, a call to action, a reminder to all of us to cherish who we are, to defend our land, to develop it to the interests of everyone. And today the words remain relevant to uphold the values of unity, of respect, of discipline, of patriotism, and of self-respect. His contributions to music are very well known, but along with the song, he carries the message. And the message is to advocate for a holistic education, the kind of education that nurtures intellect, morality, creativity, and above all, respect for human beings. We know his commitment to cultural preservation and self-reliance as the very foundations of life, as has been raised already. He wasn't a passive patriot. He was bold, he was deliberate, and he was transformative. He did not just talk about these, he embodied them and he lived them. His patriotism, again, was not just words. He took the necessary steps and practical ones to challenge the colonial status quo. By wearing his own clothes to church, he was just being himself. And to expect that that was an offense is interesting. But again, I ask myself, what have we learned from it? And I heard through the reviewer about his fabric that was woven. We live in a hot part of the country, and he wears cotton. What can be wrong with that? Sometimes I wonder if people like that were still alive, what would they say about us? Of all the examples they left, what have we done with them? I hear many people, especially the youth, talk to us about, oh, I want a role model. I said, they are there. And as Ghanaians see plenty. And he thought that education, especially which is a place where you nurture your human source, whatever, must be the kind that leads minds to solve problems and not to become a burden on society. We need to promote ethical leadership to ensure that honesty, service to nation are prioritized and practicalized. We need to encourage self-reliance, equip individuals with various skills that will translate into productivity. And all of this he applies in his life and he lived them. He also knew that nation building, and the nation is all of us. So it's never left to only one wing of who we think we have become. It's everybody's duty, regardless who you are, regardless what you do. And everybody, as I keep saying, brings something to the table. We don't all have to bring everything, the same thing. Different talents are to be respected and encouraged. And of course, he lived discipline. He didn't, to the priests, he didn't preach at us to be disciplined. He led the example. And if today we face new challenges and opportunities, and even challenges and so on, we can ask ourselves if we are upholding the values of integrity and service. we truly embracing our identity in the way Amo envisioned? Sometimes you may say that, oh, we didn't know any better, but we have examples, at the very least, in the author we are celebrating today. And his confrontation was on ways in which Christianity alienated us from who we could be. And that was why he challenged the colonial interpretations of faith and of contextualized Christianity. He spoke to the hearts of all of us in languages we understand. And everybody knows I've been very, very passionate about the use of our languages in teaching our children. We don't have to spend so many years trying to understand English before they begin to learn. We already have set it back. I know it's a dialogue that needs to continue, and I urge all of us, our revered priests and our traditional leaders, to support that. And we know that even as the church, broadly defined, grows and expands and so on, we can never skip the example of our celebrant tonight. He was open to other cultures, but not in ways that would defray his own. And this is something which says the global world, or whatever we want to call it. We need to ask ourselves, where are we in that group? Are we part of it? And if so, in what way? It shows that the way in which we can be part of the human drive. And he was not one of the people who was happy or contented just to speak about progress. Again, he lived it. And his commitment, which is unwavering to this country called Ghana, lays in the way he carried himself, in the lessons he taught, in the music he composed, and in the way he related even with himself before going out to others. His vision for a Ghana where people worked hard, honored their culture, upheld discipline and integrity is something we can all walk away with. And weak as we are, so try to emulate them. Madam Chairperson, today we stand as a nation at the crossroads of development. But we need to ask ourselves again. We have examples before us of national pride, self-sufficiency, discipline, sacrifice to embody as part of the building blocks. For far too long, we have allowed aspects of our own culture to be seen as obstacles. At many fora, I've raised the point. Everybody tells us the negative aspect of our culture. I believe we all know that. It always became a refrain. And I asked myself, will somebody talk about the positive aspects of our culture? So we all leave thinking that we don't have anything worthy. We need to reverse that dialogue and ensure that yes, we have challenges, but we also have successes. We have successes, we have had successes embodied in people like Ephraim Amo. Otherwise, it looks like they didn't do anything. If we are not doing anything, let's accept it and change our ways. So this book is more than a collection of stories or letters or sermons. It is a living document. And it reminds us all that even one single voice, when it is committed to truth and service, can shape the destiny of a country, of a nation, in a very positive and lasting way. Amo has shown us that we don't have to wait for external forces to validate our worth. We can define our own paths, write our own narratives, set our own standards for excellence. Today, as we reflect on his contributions, we need to do introspection too, and ask ourselves a few questions about how we can apply his lessons to the challenges we face today. How can we use his way of life, his way of seeing, otherwise called his philosophy, to build a stronger, more united Ghana? How can we all ensure that future generations continue to honor and live by this legacy? So it is a document that challenges all of us to carry this vision forward. Let us be inspired by his examples and follow them. Let us eschew mediocrity and strive for excellence and to work for the greater good of our nation. Let us remind ourselves that Ephraim Amo's music builds us, protects us, develops us. His sermons stir within us a renewed commitment to integrity, to faith, to sacrifice, and to service. It is again a call to action. The action that urges us to reject corruption, embrace self-reliance, prioritize national development. And I want to encourage all of us, including myself, and our youth who are the leaders now and tomorrow. Please read the book. You will not find this on WhatsApp. Not that I have anything against WhatsApp. I use it too. But I know it has its limitations. I used to ask my students, have you seen yourself on Google? What of you is on Google? Who is putting that information together? Because information is never innocent. So let's not be happy with what others think we are, but be happy with what we can be. And we can be bold in our convictions, stand firm, renewal of much needed sense of national purpose, a compass for all of us, young and old, titled Ephraim Amo, nationalist poet and theologian. Was born 1899 and passed on 1995. And I'm very happy and privileged to declare the book duly launched.